How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew. And today, welcome to Geek Rants with Ike. And today's going to be a little more of a mild rant because the topic I want to discuss today specifically is Pokemon. Pokemon's a great thing. You know, I've talked about a lot of different things on this channel, talked a lot about different things with Geek Rants. And today I specifically wanted to talk about something video game related because I've talked a lot about, anime and movies, and I did some about comic books and everything else. So wanted to take a little bit of a different direction today just to kind of broaden the perspective a little bit, just kind of give a better idea of different things. But today we're going to talk about Pokemon. Now, we're not talking about just Pokemon just in general. We're talking about basically a position that I hold that's sort of a middle ground. And when I say a middle ground, basically, on one hand, I like Pokemon. On the other, I dislike Pokemon. And I have some reasonings for each. But basically, I'm going to make those 2 points as quick as possible, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get us started. We're going to talk about Pokemon today. All right, we're going to talk about Pokemon. So let's start with the bad stuff first. Why I dislike Pokemon. Here's the deal. Pokemon is a great idea, okay? It made a lot of money when it first came out, and it has continued to be what I would consider is a cash cow. I mean, this literally is the gift that keeps on giving, and it's putting money in the pockets of Nintendo, which is not a bad thing, I guess. Nintendo is an alright company in some perspectives. They do well to make their product, and generally speaking, I can't really complain too much about it because, I mean, it just is what it is. Irregardless, the perspective that I want to take today is that while I enjoy Pokemon, I definitely think that Pokemon is basically going downhill. Now, here's the deal. Pokemon, I don't think was meant to be this long, expansive, multi-series game. All right, you look at these more recent titles and you realize that the Pokédex, if you will, is basically astronomical. I mean, compared to where it started, the Pokédex is insane. We started from such humble beginnings with the original games in 1996 from Red and Blue. Red and Green, and there was a Blue as well. And it's not necessarily that they're bad. It's not necessarily bad that, they're continuing to make games and that they're continuing to make money. However, I will say that what is bad is the content, okay? So as I was growing up, I played mostly Ruby, Sapphire, and Diamond and Pearl. Okay, Ruby and Sapphire was a great generation. Same thing with Diamond and Pearl. I would say that those, in my opinion, are two of the best generations of Pokemon since the original games. And I think that the expansion and then the updated graphics and everything else, obviously that makes some of the newer games more playable to a newer audience because especially, for people today who grew up on PlayStation or PlayStation 4 or any of the Xbox consoles are more used to a more advanced technology, right? They're more used to the graphics of Call of Duty or the graphics of Battlefield or Dark Souls or, Skyrim and Oblivion. So they're more used to these higher, more advanced graphics. Whereas kids in these days were used to playing games on the NES, the SNES, the Atari maybe. That's kind of a little bit of a age gap there from the 80s. But irregardless, people were kind of expecting these lower graphic, lower resolution titles and whatnot. However, irregardless of that lower expansion and whatnot, we look at some of these games as they progress. And for instance, Diamond and Pearl, it may have come out in 2006, but, I look back on it and I actually went back and played it prior to doing this video here today. Pearl, which is the game that I had, Pearl had a lot of really interesting stuff with it. Now, there was a concept where you could go down into I don't really remember what they're called, but I'm pretty sure they were called mines or mine shafts or something like that. But basically, you could go underground, build a mine shaft, and you could actually mine different elements to do different things, and you could even make your own base, right? And you could buy different accessories, you could buy traps, basically to prevent people from getting into your base. And you could play with other people with the DS download play. So you look at the expansion from the original games, which if you ever wanted to trade or play with somebody else, you had to have that the connection cable in order to do so. But then you have games on the DS that can do that wirelessly. So that's my first and foremost thing, is that I dislike Pokemon and the newer Pokemons because they're not putting the most utilization they can with what we're looking like, basically with what we have. We have such advanced games, in this time thread. For instance, Sword and Shield and Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are games that are for the Nintendo Switch, and they have such, honestly, they're very intuitive. The concept of being able to throw the Pokeball and everything else. And that's great. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But you have all these other titles that I feel like are not utilizing everything to the fullest extent. Now, obviously, being able to play on the 3DS, as well as some of the latter DS titles and whatnot, you're able to connect to the internet and use that internet connectivity to trade Pokemon and whatnot. So that's great. That's all well and good. I'm not going to diss that. But I just feel like there's more that could be done with it. Not only that, but also back to the whole Pokédex issue, is that there are hundreds of Pokemon, I feel like, at this point, and it's just so far diluted that it's like you'll be playing, for instance, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and you have like 100 new Pokemon on top of the previous 900 Pokemon, but you can't experience all of the Pokemon in the game. And this is also an issue I see with Pokemon Go, is that there are some times where you just will not see Pokemon, and it honestly just doesn't make sense. So, for instance, I traveled a while ago, actually, a couple years ago. I went to Montana. And when I went to Montana, they do have sort of a geographical thing where when you go into different areas, you see different Pokemon. When I went to Montana, I basically caught a literal ton of Geodudes. But I never see Geodudes here, right? So that being said, it goes to show that there are these amazing advancements that you can make with modern gaming, and that you have these amazing achievements with Pokemon, but there's just so much, and it just makes it hard to enjoy. That's the point I wanted to make. There's just so much, and you can only enjoy so much because of how much there is. But regardless, I do respect Pokemon. I do respect that it's a great game. That being said, we're going to talk about what I like about Pokemon next. What I like about Pokemon. First and foremost, I like the fact that Pokemon is such an expansive entity and title. Pokemon exists as a testament to what we liked as kids can still be enjoyable today. Pokemon has a lot to offer, right? Pokemon has stood the test of time, and we're talking, at this point, 2020 from 1996, it's 24 years of Pokemon. And it's great, and I understand that, obviously my original point was that of how much content there is. There's so much Pokemon. There's so much of this that it's honestly hard to play, and it's hard to enjoy, because you'll be playing the Pokemon games and you're like, man, I need to catch all these Pokemon, but there are a billion Pokemon to catch, and you're just like, well, what do I do, right? Same thing goes for Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go falls to that same issue like we talked about, where there's just too much for you to catch. There's too much for you to enjoy. There are even region-locked Pokemon that you can only get during certain events, which is fine and dandy in some ways, but it's also not okay because, I don't know, it seems kind of impossible. For instance, you'd have to go to Europe to get a Mr. Mime, right? I think it was Europe. I'm not 100% sure. Or, Kangaskhan, I think, was... in Australia or something exclusive. But the point being is that you have to go to certain places of the world to get certain Pokemon. People overseas can't get the tourist Pokemon because that's over here. And you have to get them from special events. And if you're not a hardcore, diehard player like some folks are, then you're not going to be able to experience those events. You're not going to be experience everything. And especially today in the world of COVID, that's also a whole nother story just in general. But basically, I like Pokemon because it is entertaining. It does have a certain value to it. And when Pokemon Go first started, for instance, I was wildly into it. And I would even say that I still enjoy opening it up occasionally to, give it a check and see, what kind of Pokemon can I get? Are there anything near me? If I, prior to COVID, if I was in an airport, I would pop open Pokemon Go and I would walk through the airport because there are Pokestops and gyms and everything else. And it's a lot of fun to be able to make those experiences and be able to see that, because genuinely speaking, that's super cool. However, and this is the big but, because as much as I love Pokemon and everything else, like I said, it just comes down to there's almost too much for you to enjoy. But that's a good and a bad thing. I talked about why it's bad, but why it's a good thing is that one day Pokemon will stop making video games, right? I don't see that happening in the near future or forever for that point. They may take a break for a decade, but I definitely feel like there's going to be more Pokemon to come. There's no way that they're going to stop the cash cow that is the Pokemon franchise. That being said, with Pokemon, one day they're going to stop making Pokemon. Don't know when, don't know how. But people who want to enjoy Pokemon are going to be able to enjoy an absolute catalog, a slew of Pokemon games from 1996 to whenever they stop making Pokemon. Pokemon's created this legacy, and this legacy is not just for you and I. This legacy isn't just about what we do. People like me, we've been around since the 90s, and we've played some of these games. So the legacy of Pokemon isn't just the fact that we've been able to enjoy it, but it's also going to be the fact that we're leaving behind a game series for generations to come. So whilst I agree that it is very hard to enjoy because of how much there is, I also think that that's a good thing, because we're literally leaving a gaming legacy, okay? So we're going to head into our final thoughts here, and I hope this made sense in a way, because like I said, I love it, but I hate it. There's so much good, but there's also a lot of bad and a lot of crappy with Pokemon. So, it kind of usually weighs itself out. I can still typically enjoy them, but what we're going to do is we're going to roll into our final thoughts here to kind of give some last little notes on that. All right, final thoughts, folks. So I'm not going to make this too long. I know that I kind of rambled on about, I guess, the metaphysiology of Pokemon and whatnot. So very cool stuff, though. However, what I do want to do now is I do want to kind of just say I do love Pokemon. Pokemon has a special place in my heart. Yeah, being able to play that, I think it's Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64 is one of my favorite memories of childhood. And there are a lot of other wonderful memories that I've been able to create with Pokemon. Even on Pokemon Pearl, I still so strongly remember making my base in that little underground tunnel system, and I don't know, it's just very, very, very fun and enjoyable to be able to experience those things, especially as a kid, and being able to, with my brothers, I got to do that as well, because I have 4 brothers, and with my 4 brothers, I got to experience the Pokemon games with them. And so that being said, Pokemon has this incredible place in my heart and in my mind, but I definitely feel like there is a very inherent issue with Pokemon overall. Pokemon is going to eventually deplete its resources, if you will, because there's only a finite number of things that they can do. There's only so many Mons that they can create before they just start becoming derivative and bullshit. And I definitely feel like we're getting towards that point, because especially with these latter games, Pokemon Sword and Shield, literally, the main bosses or whatever are like dogs. One of them has a shield on its chest or something, and the other one is red. I don't know. But regardless, I just feel like it has this very inherent issue of we're getting to a point where we're going to stop having, we're going to stop being able to create more Pokemon, right? We're going to get to a point where we won't be able to continue the process and the current trends that we're continuing. But irregardless, I feel like we, even though we are approaching that, that maximum capacity, or that, what's the terminal velocity, even though we're approaching that at absolutely alarming speeds, I feel like at this point you just gotta gotta let it go and let it do its thing. Irregardless though, I enjoy Pokemon, don't think that I don't, but I do think that there are some issues with the Pokemon franchise overall. But irregardless, I enjoy it. Hope you guys do too. But we're going to leave it there today for guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed your holiday and then the weekend after. Hope everybody stayed safe and healthy. But for us here at Geek-Stew, we're wishing you many more happy holidays and many more happy days ahead of you. Hopefully the world will get back to normal. As always, science does matter. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy your weekend, or hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Hope you enjoy your week. But stay safe, folks. Stay happy and stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. See you guys.